the motherfucker ain't never been tested.
Man, you'll ruin a whole bloodline at one drop of a.
Listen, them boys will kill knock the whole litter. They can have 5 litters back there. They take the daddy to the box, he stop. Boy, they come home, boy, they clean out everything. And I don't think they understand how serious them times was. I think right now it's so much of a fad, and they loving it so much. And, you know what I mean? Borderline tree huggers, borderline gangsters. So I'm just saying, like, you know, I think y'all guys should do them a service and explain the times, because they don't understand how serious those times was.
Well, we made it good and clear. We were not breeders. We were hunters, and there was a whole lot of hunting going on. And a lot of times, if you called back in them days, there was something wrong. It was a breeding that happened, or you knew something went wrong, and then it came out looking what you suspected. Somebody else had got to that bitch, and you wasn't gonna take no chances. You got rid of it. You just don't up and kill litters, you know, just because of a loss. It wasn't a whole bunch of that going on.
When they stop, not lost. When they stop, when they cur, they
the cur side. I ain't. I mean,
not all of them, but that's what they were saying. That's why they were saying about Irish Jerry was saying that about Honey Bunch. They was talking about Honey Bunch because her daddy had stopped.
Yeah.
So,
but again, they didn't call the whole litter, so it had to have been a good damn reason why they didn't.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that's how serious it was based on performance versus looks.
Now there's some people out there that I've seen some situations where somebody had a yard of dogs, and you know, litter mate brothers and sisters, and you suffer 3 losses. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get rid of that shit.
See?
It happens. Now that part there, you don't do a journey on one, but if 1, 2, or 3, you're gonna go back and revamp that whole situation.
But I think you guys should let the guys know that, you know, that wasn't back then, like how serious it was. Like, you know, and how special it was to have a dog like that. And I want to ask this question. Would you consider Barracuda a freak of nature?
No.
You wouldn't?
I wouldn't consider him a freak of nature. I would call Mayday a freak of nature because, you know, how the hell is a dog, regardless of what you're breeding him, and then you look at his daddy and look at his grandfather, look at that whole damn line, even including Luke Kane and Miss Luca, that's a freak of nature right there, because that's some producing ass shit when it comes to, as far as a hunter is concerned.
I'm talking about performance, his performance by himself. Not as far as him pushing out, but him himself.
Nah. No, because there were so many other ones better than him.
Okay.
I mean, there was a whole bunch of them better than him.
You seen him.
I seen
him work.
I seen him a couple times. There was a whole bunch more better than him.
Right. And the truth about it is always who seen him, who was there. That's why I'll be saying, like, if you wasn't there, then what you doing?
I tell you what, I'm gonna put it like this: the people who had Barracuda before he got sold had Champion Twisted. Guess what? Why would they sell Barracuda and not Twisted? Who was the better dog?
Seen everything they had back then. They seen.
That's right.
It wasn't no guessing.
It wasn't no guessing.
It was
all right to go ahead and let him go, then. But they sure as hell didn't give up Twister.
Right.
Twister just happened to get taken in the raid, but that was their mindset. They could let Barracuda go, but they wasn't gonna let that Twisted dog go.
Yeah, cause he was the best one.
Yes, he was.
He was the best one, and that's what I think a lot of people gotta understand. Like, we talking about the looks and this, that, and the third. Man, that was the last thing on the people's mind back then. And if y'all had that Tosa, bring him here. But man, I gotta get back on the clock, man. That's all I wanted to say, man. I think that dudes don't understand the time that they talking about. They just talking because it sounds good. They don't understand the times back when them boys were living back then. You know what I mean? People get raided. Motherfucker go to the vet and steal a dog back from the FBI. This was serious time back then, not like play time right now. Everything was more in your face, like physical, like. You couldn't really unless you was in this area.
What's going on, Buck? What's going on?
What's going on with it?
So I just wanna ask something real quick, and this is more for the OGs and you, Buck, because this is your show. And I think you have to limit like the reach of these dudes that are not, you know, in the game with these conspiracy theories. Because since when have we bred these dogs for looks? Since when that's been a thing? The standard of these dogs, the standard of these dogs has been performance.
Right.
Since the beginning, since the inception of the dogs. So I don't see a super fast lane kennel taking and crossing a grand champion game dogs to occur. I don't see it at all.
I'll agree. I don't see the reason. Why would you? That don't make no damn sense, especially if you hunting.
Exactly.
You hustling backwards.
That's a major fact, and these it's the conspiracy theorists, bro. They everywhere. They crossed town into it and made a 7-8 time winner. That shit sound good. But these dogs
718-756.
Yeah. So these dogs do not have a look. As much as we all have our preferences, but these dogs do not have a look. They have a general look, but they can be short, they can be tall, they can have pointy ears, they can have floppy ears. And sometimes you get them freaks. That's what it comes down to it. But I don't see no respectable kennel taking they champion game dog and crossing it into a fucking Mastiff or a Fila or whatever the fuck else they're saying that they're crossing these dogs into. And I don't know a kennel that would buy some shit off of that.
You won't be competitive. The competitiveness is out of it once you do that.
And these dogs do not have a look. We're not breeding these dogs for looks. We don't give a fuck what these dogs look like. We all have our preferences, but I don't give a fuck what the dog look like. If it performs, it's getting bred. That shit could be short, tall, long ears, missing an ear, missing a leg. That's what the performance is number one. That's the number one thing. Performance overall. You got this one dude talking about long tails, short tails. What the fuck is that about? Like, bro. I think you have to limit the reach of these. I think you got to limit the reach of these conspiracy theories with that bullshit because they get traction when we give them a platform to push that bullshit. When we're the keepers of the breeds, they from the outside looking in.
Hey, I'm shutting all that shit down. I'm shutting it all down.
Yeah, you gotta limit that shit. Look like Fila. There's like a little low sect of these. They crossing bulldog, bro. Bro. You can pay us to feed that shit. No cross much.
Native Gold. Where you at? Native Gold. Let's have that conversation. I got this Tosa picture that you wanted me to put up. You know what I'm saying? Let's have that conversation.
And for the Tosa, they use game dogs to make them shit. So of course they're gonna resemble.
Exactly. And they further made them smaller by using game dog. Like after they already used a game dog to make them, they started crossing more game dogs into them. When I got around these dogs, it was the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s, like 98, 99, somewhere around there. And I seen these dogs and they were definitely trying to breed them with American Pit Bull Terrier to get them smaller. So if you saw them 80 pounds and shit like that, because it's a big catch weight. A catch weight, off the chain catch weight shit is huge. That shit was a big deal, way back in the day. So they wanted these big ass dogs, but these dogs are not game at all. They're not game at all. So you'll be losing so much by adding one of these dogs into your shit, And,
Yeah, you gotta be for real with that bullshit. And then you got OGs in the chat. You got these random ass dudes that got paper dogs off of fucking Craigslist questioning OGs in the game. Like that shit is crazy. Like get them the fuck out of here with that shit.
I mean, I can see some resemblance, but this one looks like one that's not the pure Tosa. These got a lot of American Pit Bull Terrier traits in this Tosa, because I told you I seen them. Now, if you seen them before me, you seen them before me. But when I saw them, there was a guy, from Japan. He married a woman. He moved to Japan. He was here for 10 or 15 years. I knew him really good. And he had these dogs in his yard on those big ass zip lines. They were running through, had a nice little acreage and shit. He had about 6 or 7 of them over there running on zip lines, and they looked like Alice in Wonderland, bro. Like when I couldn't believe the size of these dogs, and they were trying to get them smaller, so that, of course, they were thinking about American Pit Bull Terrier, crossing them in there. I had a chance to, before he went to Japan, to get a female and a puppy off of her. And I was thinking like, nah, because, if I do breed them together, the shit might be too tight or, some shit like that. I was young as fuck, so I didn't really know, but, he left and then, but I was around these dogs though. And they did have this look. They did have that look, the one that says Tosa. They did have that look, but, if they were smaller, 9 times out of 10, they already was the complete Tosa, and then they crossed them back down with the American Pit Bull Terrier one more time or 2 more times. Shit, Native Gold in the building.
Yeah, so just so we're clear, all I was saying is that the phenotype may resemble, but I'm not saying that it was a outcross or something like that to this. I'm just saying that if it's gonna even be up for discussion, that the fila is
I got you.
Way
the fila is all the way out of the discussion. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like to even try to compare the two is like it's like comparing a 1950s Mustang to a modern day Corvette or something like that. Other similar sports
Tesla or some shit.
Yes, yeah. It's like
but the Tosa is gonna look like a game dog because it got game dog in it.
Oh, and that's what I said previously.
The game dog doesn't look like a Tosa. The Tosa looks like a game dog.
I agree.
So that's like it's like people talking out both sides of their motherfucking mouth. Like, oh yeah, it looks like a game dog. It looks like a game dog. A game dog does not look like it. That shit looks like a fucking band dog. You can see it's a massive cross. You can see that shit from far as hell. People just reaching. And at the end of the day, we don't give a fuck what they look like. Because that's not what we breeding for.
Yeah, and all I was saying is that it's like if it's even going to be up for discussion, which I don't think it should be. I think it's a non-issue at this point because, as you said, it's about performance. It's not about the look. The look is relevant. It's all about the performance. So to even discuss it, at least.
Yeah, but you got to understand, and that goes to the OGs that've been around, people who've been around in these dogs forever. So when Going Hard Mike tells you that he's been around these dogs forever, he's been around, and I know the people who were around. I don't want to talk too much, but anyway,
even if it would be close.
When you think Victor Acart is gonna cross a fucking cur as a fucking hound dog into his Mayday? Hell the fuck no, he's not, dude.
No, I mean,
this is ridiculous. Not you. I'm just saying in general.
In general, yes, I agree.
So we have to agree that if the shit did happen, he would have had to been the person to have to do that shit.
That's
hypothetically speaking.
Yes,
because looking at the timeline of the pedigrees, and we know that he's not gonna do no shit like that. So you feel me?
But they blaming it on Mayday though. Let's back up because they not only saying Barracuda, but they blaming this shit on Mayday as the way that the dog got the shit. The mom,
and like you guys said, the
Barracuda's mama never been under the microscope. We never pulled her pedigree up, not one time, and scrutinized anything that has to do with her pedigree, not one time. And not to
To
mention,
blame,
there's rumors
to
saying that
blame Mayday.
that Barracuda's off a deadlift. There's rumors about that. So
Yeah, but that,
where did the band dog come in at? That's what I want to know.
yeah.
I don't think it was ever there. I think it's just, people chasing Bigfoot and people chasing the Loch Ness monster, just because they may not be as competitive as other gentlemen have been able to be, or as successful. I think, as you guys were saying before, we live in the times of the Facebook experts, and everybody thinks just because they read about a dog, it's different when you are college studied or something like that versus for hands-on experience, trained on the job. I mean, firsthand experience will be a way better teacher than theory. Theory is beautiful in conversation. It doesn't mean shit when the rubber meets the road.
Exactly. College education just means you got a good ass memory. That's all that shit means.
Amen.
That's all that shit means. But we ain't crossing curves into our dogs. That's a motherfucking fact. Motherfuckers don't spend 50 years of their life to at the end of the day when they're 50, 60 years old, oh, let me cross this cur ass dog into my family of dogs. People ain't doing that. Bro.
No,
They ain't gonna change.
like you guys say, it's like if you outcrosses something, or how quick it can lose the abilities or the traits that you're looking for. I mean, then to go to a completely different breed doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And the black and tans been around forever. But there's nobody producing consistent litters of black and tans. That shit don't happen like that. It's genetics is in there.
Yeah.
Time to time, you'll get a throwback, but that's not like we don't breed bullies, bro. We're not consistently looking for color and 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 looks.
Oh, and
If
that's
it
another
pops
thing
up,
I was gonna say is that, when I first started getting into what I believed was the quote unquote APBT, there was XL breeders out here swearing up and down that their shit was pure. It is pure Mastiff on the top side, pure Pit Bull on the bottom side. But when you mix them together, you're not, and you're calling it an XL bully or an XL Pit Bull. It's not an XL Pit Bull. You have a band dog mutt. You could paper it and register it to wherever you want. It's not pure. I mean, it's like the guys that got busted for breeding Neo into their dogs. It's like, well, your dogs are blue and they're huge, and you went from fawn dogs or buckskin dogs to now you have blue dogs. It's like they're not pure. But if it's on Facebook, if it's on MySpace, if it's on Instagram, people will eat it up. They believe anything they want to believe because they're looking for the validation. They're not looking for the truth.
well, those are just the unfortunately those are newbies that get taken advantage of by basically hustlers. But we ain't crossing no fucking bullshit and telling you it's an XL anything.
No, I don't believe that anybody associated with the true American Pit Bull Terrier would say something like that. I mean, or do something like that, because, like you guys said, it's you guys are the gatekeepers of the quality, and the less dogs that are out there, the better, because you got too many people trying to make a name off of the quote unquote APBT or American Pit Bull Terrier. It's
Well,
everybody wants to call their shit APBT. It's like,
historically, people always ride the coattails. As much as the American Pit Bull Terrier is hated and there's the stigma that historically there's every decade there's a new breed that uses the American Pit Bull Terrier to make their breed better. They've all been using the American Pit Bull Terrier to make their shit better. The what's that German Shepherd looking dog? The Malinois. That shit
oh,
got game dog in it.
it does 100%. And you go and tell one of those guys, hey, that dog's got bulldog in it. Oh no, it's not. It's 100% Malinois. It's KNVP. If you pull up a KNVP bred Malinois, you will see that thing has game dog from somebody's line. And
Well,
and,
they
and what's
know.
funny is there's black and tan ones too.
They know there's a big thing going on that they definitely know. They're just trying to keep it up. But historically, every decade there's going to be a new breed. I just seen one the other day. It looks like a government game dog cross, and they're calling it something else. Well, historically, you cross the game dog into anything, and the game dog is going to make it that much better. That's what they've been doing for years. But the people who are in these dogs for the right reasons to preserve these dogs, we're not crossing much into our shit. Well, we're not doing that shit. That would ruin hundreds of years of breeding. To just, I'm gonna cross this mutt into it because it's gonna make it bigger, or it's gonna look this way. Because we don't breed for looks. It's performance over everything. And the OGs are on here telling y'all, and people arguing with the OGs. That shit is crazy to me. Yo, Buck, you gotta cut that. You gotta cut them dudes down short, real quick.
Well, I mean, everything's been happening, for a reason. And hundreds of years of these dogs, evolution, and the fact that everything has been tried. You see those that have band dogs. You see what these bullies turn out to be. You see the insignificance of the breed once you cross it out. You see the Tosas and how irrelevant they are in the world as far as a game dog goes. They don't even get mentioned. There's a few other dogs that might even be gamer than these guys. I would probably want to say like a Patterdale Terrier is probably gamer than one of these guys. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the whole spectrum, why if Barracuda was crossed, why wasn't it done again? And why wasn't it done often? And why did the production, because you look at the pedigree, you look at the rabbit holes, like I said, we go down rabbit holes on pedigrees all the time. Where was the drop off? Because if you do that today, we still have access to these dogs. We still have dogs that are heavy Barracuda. We still have dogs with these type of dogs phenotype, the short day phenotype, the Barracuda phenotype. What would happen is the answer to your question. What would happen if you cross anything, a Fila, a Tosa, anything into your pit bull terrier? What would happen to your line? It will go to
Debunking.
It will go to shit.
That should be booty hole soup.
I think that's your answer when it comes to, is this dog crossed or not? Because the fact is, and at the height of competition back then, and where competition was back then, they had no time to be slacking off. And I told you there was plenty eyes on these breeders. There was guys lined up all the way like a full bank line trying to get a hold of one of these dogs, and many dudes couldn't even get one,
Hey,
so
I guarantee if you would have put Mayday on one of them motherfucking feline briskets, that motherfucker would have tapped out in 10 seconds. What was that feline brisket doing in that game test back then for them to want to breed and shit like that? Not a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing.
No, and they specifically came to the States to add game dog. So to say that they look like game dogs, no shit. They added game dog. But is Barracuda a funny looking motherfucker? Yeah, he definitely is a funny looking motherfucker. But I guarantee you, they ain't crossing.
Well, I'll tell you what, most of us who, even before we got these dogs, we was out here, probably had a little relationship with dogs, and all of us, probably had I had a badass German Shepherd. Well, he was a Husky / German Shepherd. Kicked everybody's ass in the neighborhood, ran up on this little big head pit bull, and was like, damn, but really didn't get into the actual pit bull until somebody gave me one. But I seen him. So, you be around the neighborhood, everybody had a little, a monster back in the day. But until you walked up on that pit bull, bet you that changed a whole bunch of people's minds. And a lot of us old fanciers, when we go back and talk about, how we got into it, everybody generally had the same story. Well, I had this dog and I ran across this dog. I'm like, damn, that's a badass dog, man. And you fell in love with him. So it's all about your likings, man. I think all the controversy that we go through now and all the storytelling, if you can tell who are the hunters and who are the spectators, who are the old timers and who are the newcomers, because there's certain questions and certain things said that an old timer wouldn't say compared to what you can tell when there's somebody new to the game or just learning the game or talk about something they heard.